There is a quiet revolution that does not begin in the streets or in the world outside, but deep within the individual. When the mind is left unattended, it moves in endless circles, attaching itself to fear, doubt, comparison, and constant distraction. This inner noise becomes so familiar that most people mistake it for reality. To truly awaken, to step beyond the mediocrity that society has normalized, one must reshape the inner landscape. This transformation is not about collecting more information, gaining possessions, or mastering new skills. It is about undoing what no longer serves you and cultivating habits that dismantle old mental conditioning at its roots. These habits are not simple routines meant to make life comfortable. They are doorways to freedom, clarity, and a resilience that remains steady even when life applies pressure. To adopt them is to challenge the mind, strip away illusions, and reclaim the inner authority that has always belonged to you. The journey begins the moment you learn to observe your inner world without judgment. When you watch your thoughts instead of immediately believing or reacting to them, a subtle but powerful shift occurs. The mind continuously produces stories, fears, desires, and opinions, and most people obey each one, as if it were an unquestionable truth. But when you simply observe these thoughts as they arise, you create distance. You see that thoughts are not commands. They are events, temporary movements like clouds passing through the sky of awareness. Observation does not mean suppression or control. It is recognition without attachment. As you witness worry, self-doubt, and emotional surges without labeling them as good or bad, their intensity begins to soften. The urgency that once dominated your inner life slowly loosens its grip. With this space, clarity emerges. Patterns reveal themselves, repeated fears, habitual judgments, and outdated mental loops that no longer serve your growth. What once felt overwhelming starts to appear as transient phenomena, neither permanent nor defining. In this awareness, a pause is created between stimulus and reaction. You are no longer a puppet of impulse, but a conscious witness capable of choosing how to respond. This is the foundation of true mental sovereignty, because only through clear seeing can intentional action arise. As this habit deepens, life becomes less reactive and more deliberate. Thoughts come and go without consuming you. Emotions flow without dictating your behavior. Impulses appear without forcing action. The inner turbulence that once defined your state of mind begins to settle into a calm, centered presence. You realize that freedom was never something to acquire from outside. It was always within, waiting for you to observe and release. In this witnessing awareness, the mind finds stillness, clarity, and an unshakable sense of inner authority. From this foundation, the day itself begins to change. When you start your mornings with stillness rather than noise, you reclaim ownership of your attention. Most people wake and immediately surrender their minds to messages, obligations, and external demands. By choosing even a few moments of quiet reflection, mindful breathing, or simple awareness, you set a tone of presence that carries through the entire day. Stillness is not passive. It is an active alignment with the present, a preparation that sharpens perception and builds resilience. The mind learns to anchor itself before it is pulled in countless directions, creating a buffer against stress and reactivity. Over time, this practice shapes a life guided by intention rather than impulse. As awareness grows, questioning the mind becomes essential. Most suffering persists because thoughts go unexamined. Fear, doubt, and self-judgment are accepted as facts rather than questioned as assumptions. When you begin to ask whether a thought is true, useful, or aligned with your deeper values, its unconscious authority weakens. The mind transforms from a reactive machine into an instrument of discernment. Limiting beliefs and conditioned narratives reveal themselves. What once felt absolute starts to appear constructed. In recognizing that thoughts are not commands, flexibility replaces rigidity and clarity replaces confusion. Growth continues when discomfort is no longer avoided. Comfort keeps the mind weak, while challenge strengthens it. When you deliberately face discomfort, physical, emotional, or psychological, you learn that fear is a signal, not a ruler. Each encounter with resistance expands your capacity, and dissolves perceived limitations. Over time, discomfort becomes a teacher rather than a threat. What once paralyzed you now sharpens focus and builds courage. Freedom reveals itself not as the absence of difficulty, but as mastery over response. As mental strength grows, clarity demands simplicity. When attention is constantly fragmented by noise, opinions, and endless stimulation, the mind becomes exhausted. By limiting what you consume mentally, you restore focus and calm. This is not withdrawal from life, but discernment. As clutter dissolves, decisions become clearer, priorities align, and the inner noise quiets. The mind regains its natural precision and presence. Reflection then turns life itself into a teacher. By reviewing your thoughts, actions, and choices, you uncover patterns that once operated invisibly. Reflection builds accountability and turns experience into insight. Gradually, unconscious repetition gives way to conscious evolution. With this clarity, speech also transforms. Words become intentional, energy is conserved, and communication gains depth. Precision in language cultivates precision in thought, stabilizing emotions and strengthening presence. Movement, when done with awareness, grounds the mind in the body. The restless mind finds calm through deliberate motion. Discipline in the body reinforces resilience in the mind. As awareness and strength align, acceptance emerges naturally. By letting go of resistance to what cannot be changed, energy is redirected toward what can be shaped. Acceptance lightens the mind, builds resilience, and reveals that freedom lies in response, not control. Returning again and again to the present moment dissolves regret and anxiety. The mind learns that peace is not found in memory or anticipation, but in immediate awareness. With presence, challenges are met with composure, and life regains its vitality. Finally, depth replaces distraction. Instead of chasing novelty, attention is invested where meaning lives. Depth stabilizes the mind, strengthens wisdom, and anchors purpose. Through these practices, the mental prison slowly dissolves. What remains is a mind that is clear, grounded, resilient, and free, no longer driven by habit, but guided by awareness, intention, and inner strength.